Okay, so again, property loans, we had those tables to kind of help us. So again, I'll try to label what table you should be using with which section. It's just for your homework tonight. You might have to kind of dig around a little bit in your notes. If you need any tables, I'll try to like send you a link with, or like let me know. I can always link them or something and get them to you guys. For the test, I'll have them all on there. Either I'll have them right next to it, or I'll tell you which table to use. I'm not going to have you trying to guess which table.
We're guessing the tables.
All right. So finding periodic payment. Now this is really similar to the home loan, like the real estate loan and the personal property loan aren't really all that different, other than like the rates are kind of a little bit different. So the loan amount, and it gets multiplied by the number from the table, but you don't have to do any of the dividing like we did in the real estate loan because the numbers are typically smaller. So this is the loan amount and this is then times the number in the table. And this one, they gave us a huge table because of the fact that there's so many different types of loan. It could just be a few months or like a few years.
Or a century.
Finding the interest per month. This is one of the ones that it might bring up. This is where we brought in that formula, the I equals PRT. So if I asked you to actually figure out what interest you're paying on that month, because remember that interest starts really high and keeps getting smaller and smaller each time you make a payment. The P is the starting value. The R is the percentage as a decimal. And then T is the time that, like the month. So it's like 1/12, 1/4, whatever your payment schedule is on. Something like a 12th, a 4th, a half, if you're trying to figure out like how many times you pay in that amount of that time period. That'll tell you your interest you're paying on that month or that quarter or whatever it happens to be. Oh, that should be setting up an amortization table. And this is where basically we kind of wrote those first few steps. So we figured out like the balance after the first payment. So we figured out how much we were paid per month, and then we figured out how much was interest, and then what was our balance. So the way we set that up, I'm trying to think about how to write this in a short way, is basically we took our payment, we took away the interest we paid that month, and that gave us the amount we were actually taking off our loan. And so we took that off the total. Finding monthly payments, I guess these two are really the same. I guess I don't know why I have that on there twice. I must have saw a question that periodic is just, monthly is just, it's the same as up here, it's just monthly is just our 12. So I don't need to rewrite anything there, I don't think. Find the total amount paid. Again, this is your monthly payment. times however many payments you're gonna make. Mr. Hatfield feels very strongly about whatever he's talking about. So the finance charge, again, that's that extra amount that we're just throwing away to the bank because we had to get a loan. So this is the total amount. Minus the amount financed. So basically, how much did we actually take out on our loan? And I'll show you that extra money that just goes to the bank.
So you don't write anything down for finding?
No, that's really the same thing. I guess I don't know. Periodic, just this one happens to be a specifically monthly. So no, it just depends how often you're like paying the loan. So periodic versus monthly. This just means we're doing 12 in a year. Periodic could be 4 in a year, 2 in a year, depending. So maybe that's worth mentioning. So, so I might change this real quick here. So that's a good, just to add a little bit. So when we talk about periodic, what I mean by that is like monthly is 12 per year. Quarterly is 4 in a year. And kind of just understanding like then there was semi-annually, that's twice in a year. I guess the only other one would maybe be annually, and that's once in a year. Typically, as people, we do the 12 per year, but quarterly, semi-annually, or annually could be like a business or like a government agency, something like that is a bigger thing. Personally, we all probably do a monthly. So that's why I'm more drawn to using that word, but the book might not always. All right, so the homework that's listed in here, one of the things to point out is when you guys go to that type of problem, it tells you the section number. It's like in brackets behind the problem. It'll say section 12.1. So if you need to go back to those notes and kind of look at what we did or go back to the table that's associated with those notes, that might not be the worst thing to kind of help you guys to tell what you should be doing for a particular problem. If you want to add anything to your chart, if it's helpful to add a little note to yourself that makes more sense. You don't have to have exactly this written down. It's just you only get to use like what you see here. So there's only so much place to write on here.
Write down all the notes.
You can write really tiny.